What's going on, everybody? Welcome back or welcome to the Best Self Blueprint. If you've already tuned in before, you know the mission of this podcast, either via solo episodes or with amazing guests, is to give you the knowledge, experience, insights, tools, and a whole bunch of other stuff to help you move that dial towards becoming the best version of yourself. So if you couldn't tell, today is a solo episode. It's probably right in the title. But before I get into kind of the meat and potatoes, which is going over the last frameworks workshop, being the mountain, that happened this past weekend. It was a great workshop, had some great conversations with people who took part. But before I get into that and just breaking it down and kind of going over the 101 version of it, I want to go through a few brief things. Bear with me, got to do it. So first one, obviously we're on YouTube. If you end up finding that this video provides value, go ahead and click that like button. If you have questions, comments, agreements, disagreements, that's what that comment section is for. And if there's somebody else who you think would like the video, the channel, all the other happenings going on with Best Self, go ahead and use the share button. So YouTube stuff out of the way. There are some very exciting things going with Best Self right now. I am no longer traveling a third of the month, which will make it a lot easier for me to put on events. And that being said, a little while back on our Instagram page, I posted asking if I were to do a free class, what kind of class would you be interested in participating in? Overwhelming majority said goal setting and high performance mindset. So the people have spoken. On April 13th, that's a Saturday at 11 a.m., I will be putting on a free goal setting and high performance mindset workshop. It'll be quick, 1 hour, get in, get out. That will be capped at 12 people. So it's free of charge. All you got to do is show up and take part, but only 12 spots. So first come, first serve. There will be a sign up page in the description. Click that link, go sign up, save your spot. Also, if you know other people who might be interested in that, it's just a good way to get involved in this side of the coaching space, get that little piece of information. If you know people who might need it or want it, go ahead and send it their way. But April 13th, then on April 20th, 420, heck yeah, some people's favorite day of the year, we will be hosting a free meditation class. So this will be coached by Kyle Jackson. He spent 6 years diving deep into Buddhist philosophy, mindfulness practices, meditation practices, breath work, and he'll be doing an intro to all of that class. And that will be a monthly occurrence. So starting in April on Saturday the 20th, that will be starting at 1:30 p.m. Again, quick hour, maybe a little more. Get in, get out, learn some good stuff about meditation and mindfulness. That will be one you don't want to miss. In a world where being busy is a status symbol nowadays, learning how to slow down, calm down, detach, and just get grounded is a very useful skill. And Kyle is a very good coach. So make sure that you clear your schedules for that one. And then April 27th will be the April installment of the Frameworks Workshop. So 3 weekends in a row, we have some good stuff coming down the pipeline. If you catch this in time, we also on March 30th, so this upcoming Saturday, there will be a sound bath workshop going on. So there is a lot of stuff happening, great stuff going on. So all of that will be in the description. Check it all out. There's a lot of things happening and a lot of very exciting things coming as the year progresses. Like I said, it took me a couple months to get my feet settled, figure out this new game, this new system. But now that I have, there's going to be a lot of cool things. Outside of the events, I have a couple spots open for private coaching. If you're interested in that, there will be a sign up form in the description as well. Everything I talk about, there will be some sort of link or sign up form or something in the description. So private coaching, if you're interested, only a couple spots left. So if that's something you want to do it quick. Those 3 different events, well, 4 different events. So this Saturday, we have the sound bath. April 13th, free goal setting and high performance mindset workshop. April 20th, free breathwork, mindfulness and meditation workshop. And then 427, fourth installment of the framework series. So a whole bunch of stuff going on. Sign up for all of it. Last little piece, and this is another just free thing. I want to do this just to have some fun, get the community out and active. I am putting together a group. This will be meeting once a week and just going out and playing, whether it's playing a sport, going for a hike, doing something active, get outside, get some fresh air, meet some new people, and play some fun games. So if that's something you're interested in, I'll have the best self email in here as well. Go ahead and email me. That way I'll have your email. Email will be sent out and that group will be getting put together in the beginning of April. So that way, as the weather starts to get nice, we can jump right on it. So all that is all the happenings with the studio. So definitely get involved. This whole community, the reason for it is to bring together people who want to live an extraordinary life, optimize fulfillment, optimize success, optimize presence, and just optimize, period. So get involved in all that. But let's get into what I actually wanted to talk about today, which is, again, the March Frameworks workshop, which is titled The Mountain. So this workshop is a lot about proper goal setting and taking action, and beyond that, setting proper expectations. So I'm just going to go through this handout. So if you ever come to a workshop of mine, you will get guided notes, fun little quotes. Didn't even mean for that to rhyme, but there we go. So starting out, a quote that I found that I think really encompasses this framework or does a good job of summing it up is a quote by Stephen A. Brennan. And he says, "Our goals can only be reached through the vehicle of a plan in which we must fervently believe and upon which we must vigorously act." So this was a supplement to the January workshop. If you didn't go to it, it wasn't a deal breaker by any means, but the January workshop, the game was talking about the macro level, life in general, identifying what game you're playing, who you're playing with, what are the rules, how do you win, et cetera, et cetera. And so the mountain, we dive into picking what one big goal or accomplishment are you going after. So the reason I believe this is such an important framework is because it's very easy to set a goal, identify what action items will get you there, and then just set sail. But there's a few other key components that are baked into proper expectations, clarifying every step of the way. And so that's what we're going to dive into. So the mountain framework is broken down into 4 components. The summit, which is the ideal outcome or goal clearly defined. The base camp, so objectively stating where are you starting from. The trail, so that is the optimal path to get from the summit to the base camp. And then the obstacle or obstacles that lie in the way. And those are the internal and external variables that stand in between the base camp and the summit. So getting into each one, again, go ahead and take some notes, jot some stuff down, or just listen through whatever works for you. So the summit, again, this is for you to just clearly identify what is the goal or outcome that you desire. In my opinion, if it doesn't make you a little nervous or uncomfortable to write down or like tell somebody else, go bigger. So this should be something that is a big bucket list item. It's something that really is going to force you to level up entirely. So pick whatever goal that is. A good way to think about it is, what's an area of your life that you really want to improve, and what's a goal that scares you in that area. So that being said, once you identify what the goal is, there are a few things to dive a little deeper into. So describing in detail what this ideal goal or outcome will even look like. So is it a physical transformation? Is it a mental transformation, a financial transformation, spiritual, relational, whatever it may be? Really picture, who is the version of you physically? What are you wearing? How are you speaking? How are you moving? What's the external environment when you accomplish this goal? Picturing the physical sight and just overall sensory input of this accomplished task. So first thing, what will it look like? Being, what are the external sensory inputs, right? Second thing, what will it feel like? So when you accomplish this thing, really visualizing and embodying that feeling of fulfillment, success, gratitude for the journey you took to get to that point, giving yourself permission to embody it in the present. Again, I have complicated feelings around manifestation in terms of the law of attraction being, if you just think about it and generate the frequency, it'll come. I think there's a lot of work still to be done as well, but there's a lot of benefit to adding that into the recipe. So making sure that you visualize it, you embody it, you feel that frequency. And then the last thing is just clearly identifying, why do you care about this goal? What is it going to do for you? What is it going to do for your life? Why is it important? So all of that to say, you want to make sure that this is a summit worthy of climbing to. You want to make sure that this goal or accomplishment is something that is worth really diving deep into this process and really going all in the pursuit. So that's the first step. That's identifying the summit. Next up is the base camp. So, like I said, I think the key word in here is objectively determining where you're starting from. There are two ways to sway from objectivity in this. I think the first one is leaning into a bit of, and this is such a trigger word nowadays, but leaning into almost a victim mentality of not giving yourself the due credit of where you're at in terms of how much work you've already maybe put into this, how much thought, how much planning. There are certain things that already you've done to progress towards that summit, right? But on the flip side, ego can maybe project you further towards the summit than you actually are. So that's why I say objectively identify where you're at. I always tell people, start by just, lightning round, just jot from a 1 to a 10, a 1 being you have done nothing. There is no groundwork laid for this. And a 10 being you're already there, in which case you don't need to go after this because you already have it. So quick number from 1 to 10, where do you think you're at? That will get the ball rolling. Once you have that number, then explain your reasoning for picking the number. If you picked a 3, why are you not a 1 or a 2? What work have you already done? Start to give yourself a little credit for that. And then if you picked a 3, why are you not at a 10? What are the couple things that you think physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, spiritually, socially, all that stuff? What are the things currently that are preventing you from it, right? And that's a little foresight into the obstacle portion. So after that, we get into the trail. I am a big fan of reverse engineering. I love this concept of taking it from the 30,000-foot view down to the 300 or even 30-foot view. And so that's exactly the process that I use in helping people and helping myself determine that optimal path. So from the 30,000-foot view, going back to that visualization of the day or the moment that you accomplish this thing, what are the list of actions, beliefs, systems, people, etc., that helped you get through that journey to the destination, right? What helped you in the entirety of the pursuit to the summit? So jotting down all of those things, and then we zoom in a little bit. So let's say this is a year-long-ish goal. Now we're going to go to the 3,000-foot view. So now we're going to look at 6 months. We're going to zoom in a little bit to about halfway. So narrowing down that list to what, again, actions, beliefs, systems, people, etc., are going to get you to the halfway point. Jotting down those. Then we move down to the 300-foot view. So that is in the next month. What are the things that you need to accomplish at the 1 month mark, right? At that point, where should you be? What systems should be in place? What people should you be in communication with? And then finally, the 30-foot view. Today, what are the couple things that are the first domino to fall? What is one habit you can implement starting today? Who is one person you can reach out to starting today? And then finally, if you really want to dig into the 3-foot view, you're just staring at the ground. In this moment, what is one thing you can do? So maybe it's a belief. Maybe it's just questioning a belief that you have about this thing. Maybe it's in this moment right now, you can get on your phone and shoot off a text to somebody. But that to me helps you identify the trail. And obviously, the closer on the trail that how do I phrase this? Where you're at right now, the vantage point you have is only that 30 to 300 foot view. So that's really where you want to get the most detailed and have the most buy-in. Still keep your eye on the summit, still know what it's going to take, still know what that trail looks like, but really focus on the details of those first few steps and go all in. No excuses. Make sure you go get it, right? So that's my process for the trail. And then I actually work my way back up. So once I have the 30K, 3K, 330, now I'm going to look back at the 30 and I'm going to say, okay, with what I have on that 30-foot view, if I do that consistently, will it allow me to build into the things I have for the 300-foot view? If I do those right, can it get me to the 3,000? If I do those right, can it get me to the 30K? And so really analyzing in depth and looking at the full laundry list of things, people, places, systems, again, all of that, going deep in it, really making sure that you carve out the time to get intentional about the path that is laid out. And then the last piece of it are the obstacles. So I am a huge superhero nerd. I love The Flash. And in the TV show The Flash, there's a guy named Leonard Snart. He's if you watch this show, heck yeah. But Leonard Snart is a villain who's also weirdly sometimes an ally to the Flash. And they end up partnering up together to try to steal something. Not exactly the Flash's forte, but whatever. So they partner up, and Snart makes a comment about a 4-step process. He says, here's the process with any plan. Step 1, create the plan. Step 2, follow the plan. Step 3, the plan goes off the rails. Step 4, make a new plan. And that just makes me think of this whole section of obstacles, which is if I just gave people the first 3, they would probably feel like they had the full list and knew exactly what to do. But I'm guessing you, like myself and every single person I've ever coached or worked with, in the pursuit of a big goal, it never goes 100% according to plan. It never does. There's always a curveball. There's always a pivot. There's always something that needs to get altered in order to get to that quote unquote summit, right? And so with the obstacles, it's very simple, but it is an important piece. Starting with the external variables, what people, places, things, beliefs, what things will get in the way of this pursuit. So if it's a physical pursuit and you have a habit of eating McDonald's every day, that will probably get in the way. If you have a goal of financial abundance, but you're a daily Amazon shopper, that is something that will get in the way. Or if you're someone who has a big goal of, let's say, marrying your significant other, but your significant other is someone you don't want to marry, that is a person who may be standing in your way. Those are all just absolute winging it examples, not the best ones I could come up with, but those are just the ones that I think of when I think of external. So people, places, things, habits that get in your way, and then internal variables. So this is where we get more into what beliefs, what self-sabotaging behaviors. And that's kind of a hybrid, right? Because like I said, the going and getting McDonald's is a physical external thing, but it's based off of self-sabotaging behaviors, which is generated internally, right? So just creating that list, both internal, external, and apparently now hybrid, but writing down all of the things that will get in your way. So again, like for just if we're talking getting physically fit, if you work 10 hours a day and when you get home, you always turn on the TV and watch some Netflix, or you hop on video games, or you get busy with other stuff. You're going to have to sacrifice one of those relaxing activities to accomplish the goal. And this is my personal belief, but the reason I put this whole thing together is because I do believe, yes, going after something big requires a lot of intentionality and clarity, but it usually requires sacrifice on some level because it's going to require a new evolved version of you to complete it. So that right there is the process. Like I said, I'm giving the very 101 version. Down the road, diving deeper into this is in the works. There will be a very comprehensible, very in-depth thing that I'm working on right now. I don't want to give too much away though. But then what? And I actually have that written in the packet. But then what? Once you go through this process, it's important to realize that typically a mountain is part of a mountain range. Also, typically, when you get to the summit being your ideal outcome or goal, that vantage point will show you that there are so many other big goals that you can go for because of that vantage point you've just gotten to. And so it's thinking about once you've accomplished your ideal outcome or goal, what other summits will be available? So if it's in fitness, if your goal is to run a 5K and you've never run a race or run a mile in your life, well, when you get to that 5K, now you have the vantage point of thinking, oh, maybe that I could do the 10K now. And you do that. And then maybe I could do a half marathon, and you do that. And you just keep exploring this mountain range. And it's the same with every area, right? Again, financial, relationship wise, although that one I'd have to think a little deeper on. But every mountain has a range. That maybe not be true in terms of actual mountains, but I find it to be very true in terms of what I'm talking about. The other piece of it is, what other mountain ranges are you looking at? So this is where it ties into that first workshop where I dove into the life success wheel. So each area of life has various mountain ranges that you can go nuts exploring and summiting and having a blast with. But much like picking the right career, much like picking the right partner, you want to make sure that these summits are the ones that you want to get to. And a big piece of that is then having the foresight to look at the mountain range lying beyond it. So maybe this one goal is something that you really want to do, or it looks really exciting. But if you're trying to really nest yourself into this arena, but when you look beyond the first goal, it's something either you're not willing to give up the things required to do it, which is fine, or it doesn't really light you up. Those are things to look into. So that right there is my little Cliff Notes version of the mountain framework. And that's what I would urge you to do. If you have been following along, you know I am the first person to encourage people to go big, shoot your shot, be bold, do something crazy, do something extraordinary. But if you're going to do it right. And I think this framework will do a good job of helping you with that. If now that I'm already through it, you have questions, you have comments, things that you agree with, things that you disagree with, whatever, throw them in the comments section. But I think I'm going to leave it with that. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I always appreciate it. No matter how few or many people end up listening to this, I have so much respect for anyone who listens to this type of content, wants to go find the answers, wants to go seek the truth and help mold their own journey and their own self so that they are optimized. And so thank you so much for letting me give my 2 cents. I love doing this, but I think I'm going to leave it with that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Tune in. We have some awesome guests lined up. We have some awesome things lined up. Stay involved, stay active on the Best Self social media. There will be a lot of announcements coming out as things ramp up. And thank you one more time. Peace.